Okay, 1, 2, 3. Hey, John, mute your mic. Hello, and welcome back to BricsCAD in 20 minutes. Today, we're going to be talking about share the benefits, and you can save 20% off a new seat of BricsCAD Pro. Also, we'll get into some live demonstrations showing off some really cool features. One is, the first one is going to be copy guided and move guided. The second one would be the Manipulator and how you can use that. And then the Blockify, the one-step workflow to make blocks really quick and fast. With that, this is your BricsCAD team. I'm in the middle. I'm Matt Olding. I'm the owner of A to B Design Solutions, which is an authorized Bricsys reseller selling you BricsCAD and supporting it here in the United States. Off to my left is Scott Noble. And Scott, can you introduce yourself?
Sure. Thanks, Matt. I'm glad to be on with everyone today. My name is Scott Noble. I have over 20 years in the CAD business, from being an end user of multiple products over the years, through selling in the channel partner level, and also working for some of the larger CAD companies in the country. Happy to be here at Hexagon Bricsys.
Cool. Well, hey, thanks, Scott. And then off to my right is John Aid. And John, could you introduce yourself?
Be happy to. Thanks, Matt. Yeah, my name is John Aid. I'm an architect. My background is commercial architecture, multiple different types of it. I gravitated towards the tools and became a CAD and BIM manager, and then actually went on to supporting people the last 12 years, consulting, and continuing to do that with BricsCAD, helping them implement and learn the tools.
Well, cool. Well, hey, thanks you guys for joining me again and help me out with today's BricsCAD in 20 minutes. Okay, now let's get into the main topic of the day, is share the benefits of BricsCAD and how you existing customers can save 20% off a new seat. And Scott, can you jump in here and help me out with some of the details?
Most certainly. So this part of the year, all through June 16th, what we're doing is, if you enjoy BricsCAD and the benefits that you get of DWG compatibility and all the extra tools that we're going to look at here in a moment, we'll give you a 20% discount on a new seat of BricsCAD Pro. But what we're looking for is, help us share the benefits that you receive now. So to get the 20%, give us the name of someone that you think, another colleague of yours that you think will also benefit from the great tools that you have. And they will also get a 20% discount on their first seat of BricsCAD Pro.
Well, cool. And then what are so some of the details? Can
sure.
Emphasize some of these?
Yeah, June 16th, we're running this promotion to then, so we have a few weeks left. So the discount is for one new license for yourself and your colleague. The colleague needs to be someone outside your organization, so someone like a customer or a supplier or peers you mentioned there. And obviously we need their name and email and phone number, so we need to know how to get a hold of them. And then you'll both be eligible for that great discount.
And also, you folks, where to go to sign up for this is basically, if you go to this link that I have here, and I'll post it up in the chat also too. Let me bring the window over. Here it is. Here's the site. Just go up to the website and then you click onto this sort of reddish button, and it'll take you right to where you need to sign up for the benefits. And all that you need is, like what Scott was saying, is you put in your name, put in your colleague's name, your email, colleague's email, and phone number, and then you just hit submit. And that's what you do to save and get the compromise for the discount and everything. So yeah, Scott, do you have anything else to say about this?
No, we love our customers, and we want to thank you for supporting BricsCAD. And then we're willing to share those benefits with you. as well as, help other people, enjoy what you're benefiting from today.
Cool. Well, hey, thanks, Scott. Thanks. Yeah. Okay, now let's get into the demonstration and show off some of these really cool features inside of BricsCAD that our competitor does not have. And the first one's going to be copy guided and copy moved. And then we're going to jump into Manipulator and Blockify. And with that, I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to pass it off to John. And John, if you could take it over and show the audience. Yeah, we could see you. It looks great.
Great. Thank you so much, Matt. So yeah, I get the fun of showing you and demonstrating these really cool tools. They're three amazing tools that are unique to BricsCAD, and they'll help you be more efficient in your daily work. And of course, we're talking about copy guided and move guided. They kind of go together. One does copy and one does move, obviously. We also have something called the Manipulator, which really helps with everyday manipulations of elements while you're working in your CAD files. And then of course, we'll move on to Blockify. So I'll get right to it. A lot of other software developers who provide CAD software, they kind of have forgotten about the 2D needs of many of our customers, but not at BricsCAD. And that's why we've developed a lot of these innovative, intelligent tools. So we've developed the smart move and copy tools called Move Guided and Copy Guided. And of course, we're working in what should be a familiar interface to many of you already. And what these tools can do is help you copy and move entities using what are called guide curves. So this particular example is showing a vessel diagram. So a tank with piping. The piping here is basically lines and arcs representing those pipes in 2D. I have a block that represents a valve, and then there's some line work on either side of it that's representing the flanges that valve connects to the pipe with. Well, I need a valve in another part of this pipe. And to do this manually, I would have to copy it, rotate it, break the line work, a lot of steps to make that happen. With copy guided, I can window select that valve and overlap the surrounding geometry, and it makes that surrounding geometry, those lines representing the pipe, act as guide curves. As I get close to similar geometry, it will attach to it. So you'll notice these line works down. The line work down here is not the same distance apart, and it's not really recognizing it. The minute I get close to this vertical pipe, which is the same amount of lines and guide curves, it snaps to it and rotates and orients to it.
That's really cool.
It is.
Sorry about that, John. Yeah.
And when I pick to place it, what it does is it actually puts a break in that line work and cleans it up, so I don't have to do that myself. So that's the automation part of it. It's really intelligent and really fast. And what happens is maybe during my design, I figure out that this valve really needs to be over here. There's also Move Guided. Move Guided works in a similar fashion where you can grab the geometry you want to move. It once again defines the guide curves. And I'll zoom in a little bit closer here, but when I place it in the new location, it will obviously clean up the line work there, but it also healed the geometry where I moved it from. Now, these tools work in a variety of applications. Now I'm moving to an architectural floor plan, which is kind of my comfort zone being an architect. And we can use copy guided to copy this door in a different part of this wall. So again, copy guided, I use a window selection to grab that door and overlap the surrounding geometry. And it, again, identifies those lines for the wall as guide curves. When I get close to similar geometry, whether it's the same wall or a different wall, it will align with it, and then I can place a new copy. It not only broke the lines and cleaned them up, but it also divided the hatch up and cleaned it all up, all in one operation. And like the vessel drawing before, this door is in the wrong place. I can go ahead and select Move Guided. And with Move Guided, I can then move it to, say, this wall. And again, it healed the geometry, the line work, and the hatches. Super, super powerful.
That is really, really nice. Yeah, well, John, I have a question. Can it do it in 3D also, or just for 2D?
Now, this is the copy and move guided tools are currently restricted to 2D, but they are advancing that in a future release to include 3D.
Okay, that's good to know.
So another example of that is you can also pick an element that you want to move or copy. In this case, I'm going to move it. Say I want to move that urinal, but now because I selected it first, I can identify what I want to use as a guide curve. So I just pick that one face of the wall. That makes it so that I can actually move it to pretty much any line in my drawing. So I can move it to this wall very quickly and easily. Another great application of this tool, which when I saw it, I was just wish I had it back when I was doing production work every day, was maybe I want to, my design has changed and I want to eliminate this window from my design. Well, if I delete it, I'd still have all the hatches and all the line work to clean up. Using move guided, I can actually move that window outside of the wall and notice that it repairs and heals the geometry as part of the command.
I love that.
And if I don't need this window anymore, I can just grab it and delete it. That's a lot faster than doing that manually.
Oh yeah, by far.
So I'm going to move on to talking about the manipulator. The manipulator. So BricsCAD has all the basic tools that you would expect to manipulate geometry, the basic manipulations like move, rotate, copy, mirror and scale, and others. So, but those are pretty standard commands, and they only do so much, and you have to invoke the command or find it on the ribbon or type it in or what have you. So we have a tool that encompasses all of those common manipulation commands called the manipulator, and it allows for very fast, precise, and intuitive manipulations of objects. And since it's a tool used so often in 2D and in 3D, we've made it very accessible. So what I'm going to do is just zero in on a smaller portion of this drawing. Just isolate it. And I'll go ahead and create something to work with. And what we mean by accessing the manipulator, all you have to do is hover and left click on an object just a tad longer than just picking it, and the manipulator will appear on the object. The manipulator has grips for each axis, so you can quickly move it along the two different axes in 2D. And as I mentioned before, we also have this in 3D. You have an arc for rotating the object freely, keying in a value, or using predefined rotation increments. We also have mirror, all part of the manipulator. Now I can take this and I can also move and copy at the same time. I can also grab just one edge of this rectangle and manipulate it. So I'm basically stretching one end by using just the one edge of it. I can also grab multiple objects and do a copy. And while I still have the manipulator and objects selected, I can pick more. And now I can do a mirror copy.
That's nice.
All this without ever going to a toolbar, keying in a command, except for maybe if I want to key in a distance, but I didn't even do that with any of those manipulations. So the manipulator does work in 3D too.
Yeah, John, yeah, I was going to ask. So this does then.
It does, and it's amazing. The 3D tools, especially manipulator, really make it much easier to work in 3D. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick again, and notice the manipulator is now showing me 3 axes and 3 arcs for rotation along those different axes. And so I can quickly go ahead and pick the vertical axis here, and I can move this down to that polyline so it's now aligned at the right level. So that's a very quick manipulation. Another thing that it can do very rapidly is doing the mirror. Maybe I want these balconies on the back corner of the building. So I can select these 4 balconies. Notice I picked a little bit longer on the first one. And then I can grab that mirror command. And there is a midpoint up here. There we go. And I copied that to the back face of the building. Very quickly, very fast. And now this manipulator has grip, so I can actually move the manipulator if I need it in a different plane or a different part of the project to work with. And I can use that again to do yet another mirror to the other corner of the building. So again,
John, yeah, but just a question, well, or just a statement. It feels like the manipulator is sort of like moving the UCS around, but a lot easier with real measurements and increments and stuff. Is that a good definition for it?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically giving you commands at your cursor instead of having to invoke a command to start manipulating objects. I mean, and because of its flexibility with moving it and realigning it to whatever face or geometry you're working with, it does that very quickly. So again, I was doing it all with, I think I used the keyboard once or twice to just key in one value.
Yeah.
And it even has additional functions. I'll just show one more real quick. We've seen how this can act as a mirror to mirror an object, but if I right click on the actual manipulator, it gives me the option to change that to be a scale. And now when I pick on it, it actually scales the object. So it has extended features all built into it that you can access very quickly.
No, that's a slick feat. I really like that tool. Yeah.
I do too. When you're first learning BricsCAD, those are the tools that you start gravitating to because you're familiar with a lot of what's already there, but these help you work faster. And to be quite honest, they're very easy to use. And speaking of easy to use, making blocks sometimes can be a little bit frustrating for people, and more frustrating is a drawing like this where you may have geometry representing, say, chairs like this, and it's made up out of polylines, and I can see that there's multiple instances of that chair that's all line work. Well, it would really be better if this was all a block and each instance was a block. Now, we have the common commands that you would expect, the block command, the insert command, making blocks and editing them. So I'll just go ahead and double click on this block and open up the block editor. Just like most people are used to, you can make changes to the block and you can save them back to the block in the drawing and it'll update everywhere. I'm going to go ahead and discard this. But, and I could use these tools, these common tools, to create a block of this chair and then go around and place it everywhere where I need to. Well, that's tedious and takes a lot of time, and that's why we created Blockify. Blockify will allow me to select these objects, and I'll just accept all the defaults. For insertion point, it's going to search the entire drawing. It's going to give it a default name, and that last click that I picked, it took less than a second. It created a block of that geometry, replaced the geometry with that block, and searched the rest of the drawing for where there might be other instances of it. And let's not isolate that. Let's go ahead and select similar, and you can see in my properties that there were actually 22 instances that it replaced with that block.
Wow. So basically, you had this geometry there, and then basically you just made one a block, and it went out and searched automatically without even really noticing it, and then made them all blocks.
The entire drawing, and it did it in a second.
Cool. That's cool. That's a good feature, especially if you're, and most people do have lots of block libraries and blocks that they're creating all the time. Yeah, that's a nice slick feature.
And I'll take it one step further too. So here's a similar situation where we have a lot of line work representing a chair in a conference room, and it may have been exploded by accident. Who knows? Maybe somebody just copied it around. So I'm going to go ahead and use Blockify to create a block out of it. This time I will be a little bit slower. I'll define the insertion point. I'm going to search just this conference room. And then I have the option of giving the block a name as I'm creating it, and then boom, that last enter in the keyboard, it's done. It again created the block, it replaced it in each instance, and then where there's a repeat pattern, there's an option for it to create an array out of it. So it even created an array where it saw a repeat pattern that it could replace with an array.
That's nice. That's really nice.
So these are the type of intelligent tools, not all of them, but some of them that we have in BricsCAD to help you get more done faster.
Yeah, John, I really like it. Some of these new features, especially, for the audience, they're current users of BricsCAD and take advantage of some of these new features that are inside of BricsCAD that they're not new. They've been around, but they're new from if you're coming from that other CAD package, which I think, innovation is great for, speeding up your work and helping you out though. But yeah. Well, John, thank you very much for showing us that. And then we're getting close to our 20 minutes here, folks. But before we go, just going to bring up one more slide on about the share the benefits and where to go. So where to go is you want to go to AutoCAD to BCAD.com and promotion. And if you go to this link, and I put it in the chat room for everybody also too, so you can get to it really easy. Bring it up, brought it up on the wrong window. And here it is. Basically, it gives you all the detail information about you need to what it details. Keep in mind, it does end June 16th to take advantage of that. So keep that in mind. And then once you go to here to sign up, once again, you just need your name, your email, and your colleague's name and email and phone number, and you hit submit. And that's how you can save 20% off of BricsCAD Pro. Okay, with that, I just want to say thank you. I'm Matt Olding, and Scott and John, thank you very much for helping me out today.
Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah.
Thanks,
cheers.
Matt.
Yeah, talk to you all